Dave Palumbo here with an RxMuscle contest update. I'm here with Chris, the technician Aceto, for this recap that's sponsored by Yamamoto Nutrition. And Chris, the IFBB Charlotte Pro 212 event was so good this past weekend that I wanted to get you here so we can recap it, because on Heavy Muscle Radio tonight we really didn't get a chance because it ended on a Sunday. And in my estimation, this show eclipsed the Arnold Brazil Open category, where Lucas Osladel was the surprise winner over there. So let's get straight to it. Milan Sadek, who we had on live with last week prior to the show, a little interview with him, he winds up emerging victorious in this lineup. But Chris, this is no easy feat. One of the most difficult 212 lineups we've seen of the entire year.
Yeah, no, the top three, top four was just mind-boggling. I mean, take the condition on the top three and put them on somebody who's, you know, in Brazil, and that person would probably emerge victorious. I mean, the level of conditioning was insane, and the depth. I know the top five were really good, but you know, go down. The top 10 were pretty darn good. You know, Darren Glenn, I think that's his name. He won the USA a few years ago. He didn't look that bad. He got dead last. He did not look bad. I mean, he looked good. You know, and someone asked me how he placed, and I just looked it up before we started the show, and I couldn't even believe that he was last. Last.
I work with a guy by the name of Walter Martin, who was tremendous. It was his best ever. He was shredded. It was the best look ever, and he had to settle for 11th. Any other lineup, he's top 5. So this was a very difficult lineup, but it turned into a 3 or maybe 4-man battle. But there was some controversy, and that's what I really want to talk about. Milan Sadek is a terrific bodybuilder. He brought conditioning. He brought aesthetics. He's a good poser. You can't take anything away from this guy. He deserved the victory, but I mean, the other guys, you could make a real good case for them. Let's talk about one of the guys you helped, Craig Richardson, who at 40, so many years old, I think he might even be close to 50 now, but he's definitely at least 47 or 46. He is looking incredible out there. I think this might be the best he's ever looked in his career. I don't know how this guy keeps doing it.
Yeah, no, he was like, you know, a week out, I just thought, I told him, I said, Craig, you're going to be extremely hard to beat just based on this level of conditioning. And when he poses, you know, things happen too, you know. I mean, he's really old school, like totally deep strided pecs, totally steep strided quads. He's got the crazy gluten hams, tremendous color. He's got experience in presentation. You know, after the prejudging, he told me, it's either me or the European guy. He said, I've got more muscle maturity and density, I think, than, you know, everyone here. He said the European guy has a big frame, which might not show up in pictures. So to Craig's credit, you know, he said he's a big guy. Yeah. You know, it's amazing that he's, you know, my weight, 212.
You know, Craig's knock was always that his back wasn't that good, but he had a lot of back detail in this show, and we're looking at the pictures from NPC News Online, so we wanted to just thank them for allowing us to use those pictures. But I mean, Craig was good. I mean, you can make a case for him winning this show, no doubt. And I know a couple people who were there in attendance who told me that they felt that Craig Richardson was the true winner. But that's how close this show was. Now, the controversy comes in the way of third-place finisher Nicolas Vullioud, who we also have featured on Muscle in the Morning. This guy is from Switzerland. He is a true freak of freaks. He's very short. He's kind of Lee Priest-like. He's got great legs. He's got the ridiculous striated glutes from behind. And you look at the pictures from him and you're like, how come this guy didn't win? And Chris, there was some controversy because somehow he got some infections or something's going on with his delts. You know, we talked about a couple months ago, we had the Synthol guy, Kenny, on, and also a guy from Canada who had these big lumps in his delts. Nicolas Vullioud's weren't as bad, but they were pretty bad. I don't know if Johnny can put the picture up of him pumping up backstage. I mean, maybe you can zoom on that too. You can see there's 2 huge lumps. They almost look like little pimples that are going to explode. What do you think's going on there, Chris? Is that a bad shot? I mean, is it an infection? I mean, I don't know why these guys don't go for, you know, antibiotics and stuff like that when shit like this happens.
Well, I mean, I think it looks like like an abscess of some sorts, or I don't know. It just looks odd, But I looked at pictures from the show, and it was hidden well on stage. You know what I mean?
Right, but we weren't there in the first row.
It's not like the Canadian guy that looked like whoever was on that time with the triangles off his delt. But and I don't know if that played a role in him getting third. I just think that
I'm sure it did. It had to have. It had to have.
I mean, it may have played a role.
It had to.
I don't know.
It had to. It had to. You know why? Because this guy could have won the show possibly. I'm not saying he would have won the show, but he could have won the show. Well, I have to imagine that if you're sitting in the front row there, it looks horrendous because people don't realize when you're sitting in that judging panel front row, you see every little pimple, every little blemish on people's skins. It's a big, big difference from sitting 3 rows back, and it's a huge difference from looking at pictures or video because you cannot see what's going on. I guarantee you this guy was marked down for this. I think he might have won the show had he not had that, but it goes back, Chris, to what I've said a million times before. If you have an infection, okay, and it's getting worse, you got to go to the doctor and get antibiotics for it. It's not going to screw your conditioning up. Believe me, it's certainly much better getting rid of the infection, okay, with antibiotics than not taking the antibiotics and having a huge pus-filled, pocket on top of both of your delts. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Not only is it stupid and it looks bad, but you're risking your health. When an infection gets that big, it can get into your bloodstream. That's called septicemia, and you could die from that. So, when guys have these things happen to them, you got to go to the doctor and address it. Even if they might have lanced it a little and drained it, it might have been fine. So, yeah, I mean, it sucks when things like this happen. I guarantee this didn't happen 2 days before the show. This thing looks like it's been festering for at least a week or two, or if not more. So I have to imagine this could have been addressed 10 days ago, and he would have been fine for the show. So, in my mind, I would have disqualified the guy. I would have told him to get off stage, because I think that's just almost reinforcing dangerous activity. And Johnny has a video. When is this from, Johnny? 3 days ago, and you can see, I know you can't see it, Chris, where you are, but he has the big lumps in his delt there too. So maybe it's scar tissue. It might not be an infection. It might be scar tissue, in which case he's in real big trouble because I don't know if he's going to get that out of there.
Well, apparently, I don't know for a fact, but I hear people are saying that he's going to be doing the New York Pro, which is, I think this whole lineup's going to the New York Pro, which means Weinberger throwing Guy Cisternino is going to get the best New York Pro 212 lineup since Jose beat Sammy Haddad and retired him.
Right.
I'm kidding, Sammy. I'm kidding.
Well, this kid is really good though. He's a young guy. He's got a tremendous amount of muscle. He gets ridiculously conditioned. He's got those crazy, crazy, crazy glutes from behind. Everyone loves to see that. They're like Ronnie Coleman glutes. And he's probably 5'2". He's probably like Jose's height. I know now Jose's going to text me and yell at me after he watches this. I think he's a terrific talent, but I think he's got to address the shoulders. And if it is scar tissue in there that got to be removed, he can't do the New York Pro. There's no way he should show up in front of Jim Mannion and Steve Weinberger at the New York Pro looking like that. What do you feel about that?
I mean, I know people are talking about it. So, I mean, what if you come to the New York Pro and it looks worse?
Yeah.
Right?
Or just same.
You know what I mean?
The same is just as bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know it's just as bad. That's why I took the worst.
Yeah.
What if it looks worse?
Yeah.
Of course,
I think he's got to address this.
This
could ruin a career. It seems like a silly thing, but it could ruin a career because if he gets stigmatized as the guy with the lumps in his shoulders, he's never going to do well no matter how good he looks all over the place. So it's got to be addressed. I'm glad the judges did not reward it. I would have put him lower, but he does have a terrific physique, and it was kind of hidden, I guess, when he was posing. But I mean, just you catch one glimpse of it, and it's an eyesore. Now, Chris, you helped another guy in this lineup, the 4th place guy, Sammy Trouty, and he was impressive too. I mean, this guy, in any other lineup wins. So, and you said you only worked with him for a few weeks, right?
Yeah, 7 weeks, and if it was a typical really good lineup, and not an insane lineup, he would have won the show, right? I mean, if you take out Craig at his all-time best, the Czech guy, you know, looking skinless, and the guy with the magic delts, you know, then, you know, Samir wins. Yeah. So, I mean, if you look at his physique, he's also doing New York. If he can tighten up in 3 weeks or 4 weeks without losing that fullness, you know, he's going to be a factor in that show more than he was a factor here. That's for sure.
New York is going to be a great show. Is Ashkenani doing New York? Or not?
I hear Ashkenani's doing the show too.
Oh, he is. Okay.
I mean, I hear.
What about Jose?
No, Jose is he's just, you know, doing cruise control right now.
Okay, well that's good. He's saving it up for the Olympia. He's got to try to beat Ashkenani.
You know, so Jose loves all this drama. This guy, that guy, this guy. He's just home relaxing.
The 212 class is more exciting than the open class right now.
It's completely. You know what? Because it's unpredictable.
Yeah.
Because you have people who show up like Craig at his all-time best, and you're like, holy shit. You know, I mean, those two the guys who got first and second in this show are absolutely positively top 5 material in the Olympia at that type of conditioning. Yeah. I mean, depending on how other people come. I mean, if David Henry's quote off, if this guy's off, if you know what I mean, there's not a lock on the top 5 at the, you know, or that first call out at the 212 Olympia, and you know that's what makes it exciting that anything can happen. Sure.
We spent a lot of time talking about Nicolas Vullioud. We spent a lot of time talking about Craig Richardson, but Milan Sadek is the winner of this show. He deserves the greatest pat on the back. He's a super great guy. You know, like I said, we had a great interview with him last week. If you want to catch that, it's on live on the RxMuscle.com website and the YouTube channel. And he's qualified for the Olympia now. How do you think this guy stacks up against the Ashkenanis, against the Jose Raymonds of the lineup?
Just look at his pictures and don't tell me he's not ridiculously dangerous.
He is.
I mean, look, we just came from a show, Ohio, with a guy who got first and second, don't have anywhere near the legs that he has. Yeah. And his legs are matched to his upper body.
True.
I mean, he might not have the wacky freak upper body as David Henry, but he can certainly hang with David Henry on the upper body. Look at it.
Yeah, I mean that most muscular shot is wacky. I mean, so.
and then look at you know, I know I'm playing up my book, you know, by talking about Craig, but I mean if Craig can get to the Olympia for God's sakes, you know, I mean in this type of condition, you don't just say, oh sorry, you're not in the mix.
Right, but you know what? Craig also doesn't have that young, fresh muscle like Milan has, like Nicolas has. So that it definitely hurts him a little bit. But his structure is so good. He's another Dexter Jackson. This guy. I mean, Craig is one of these guys that never really, I think, fulfilled the destiny that we thought he was going to have when he won that teen nationals. Like this guy's going to be an Olympia quality guy. And I think he had a lot of, you know, he had kids and a family, and he had a lot of distractions. But he's got that raw talent, and when he puts it all together, he's very dangerous. I agree with you. Can he mentally stay with it and hold it together for a couple more shows to qualify for the Olympia and then bring it to the Olympia as well? That remains to be seen because, you know, with Craig, consistency has always been his problem. But I think the lineup was terrific. Congratulations to Ed and Betty for a successful show right in the Europa Sport Distribution's headquarters there in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm sorry I missed it, actually, because it did turn out to be a spectacular show. Hopefully we'll see a rematch at Steve Weinberger's New York Pro, May 20th, which RxMuscle will be in full attendance there. Will be pictures, videos, all the usual rigmarole. Chris, I know you got something to do today, so I'm going to let you go. I'm Dave Palumbo with Chris the Technician Aceto with an RxMuscle contest update.